We're going to kick it off with Deputy Chief Mike Smathers.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. My name is Mike Smathers. I'm the Deputy Chief for the Special Operations Bureau for the Albuquerque Police Department. First, I want to take a moment to again offer our condolences to the family of Pranoy Bhattacharya. The death of Pranoy took place last Sunday just up the road from where we're at right now. He was struck and killed by an OHV, an off-highway vehicle, operating illegally on the streets of this city and driving recklessly. I've tasked our motors unit and our open space divisions to tackle the ongoing issue of drivers traveling through the city on OHVs. I want to be clear, whether it's an ATV or an side-by-side like you see behind me, none of these vehicles can operate legally on the streets of this city, and there are no exceptions. Prior to the crash that killed Pranoy and injured his father, our officers have been dealing with an increase in OHVs traveling in Albuquerque. Clearly, this is not an easy issue for our officers to address. I want everyone to know that our officers have been instructed to issue citations and to tow any of these vehicles that they're able to get stopped and they encounter. We have partnered with New Mexico Game and Fish, who are graciously helping us out, helping out APD with increased efforts to stop people from operating these vehicles in Albuquerque. Not only has Game and Fish allocated significant overtime to these efforts, but we will also be utilizing our air support units to better locate individuals who are operating in Albuquerque and violating state law. Behind me you can see signage that was provided by New Mexico Game and Fish that advised that OHV use is prohibited and helmets are required. We'll be working with Park and Rec and DMD to evaluate adding this signage to open space areas in the city and on some city streets that are experiencing a high volume of OHV traffic. Additionally, we're looking into investing additional overtime for APD as well to address these concerns. Our acting motors commander and representatives from New Mexico Game and Fish and Open Space have more information, so I'm going to turn it over to them, and I'll let acting commander Nick Wheeler speak to you. I appreciate you being here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. As the Chief mentioned, it is illegal to operate a side-by-side, also known as an off-highway vehicle, or an all-terrain vehicle, like you see it behind us, on a city street or state road in the city and county of Albuquerque and Bernalillo. Right now I've tasked the traffic division, which is the motor officers and the DWI unit, to attack this full force, zero tolerance. If you are caught operating one of these vehicles on a city street or a state highway in the city of Albuquerque, you will be cited, your vehicle will be towed, and if you choose to flee using the resources the Chief mentioned, we will catch you and you will go to jail. Currently we have 82 fatals that the Albuquerque Police Department Traffic Division has investigated this year just in the city limits. 25 of those are speed related, and unfortunately one of those is related to an off-highway vehicle. As the Chief mentioned, we have seen an increase of these vehicles coming into the city limits. We've seen 40, 50, up to 70 vehicles at a time driving down I-40, coming into the downtown area, driving on sidewalks, making pedestrians move out of the way for them, and we are going to tackle this, and it's zero tolerance. I've instructed my officers, there is no warnings, it's zero tolerance for this type of behavior. Our main goal is to make it safe for everyone in the community, to enjoy the sidewalks, the streets, the events that the city of Albuquerque hosts. And again, we couldn't do this without the help of the Open Space Unit and New Mexico Game and Fish. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Lieutenant Mike Meisinger. Thank you for your time.
Good morning all, and thank you for bringing this issue up to the people in Albuquerque. A lot of people just aren't aware of what the laws are related to OHV use around Albuquerque. But one of the things that we do run into is that when we try and encounter individuals that are on city streets or riding through neighborhoods or in dirt areas that are prohibited, is that they run from us, which makes it very, very dangerous for the people on those vehicles. The last thing we want to see is anyone get injured. So in effort to support the operations by the motor unit to make sure that we don't have OHVs operating on city streets, open space and our air support unit are going to help. So if someone is out there and they are contemplating running when they try to get pulled over, it's not worth it. There are going to be people that have off-road capabilities with their vehicles, so if you run out into the mesa to try and get away, they'll be out there waiting for you. There will be air support overhead that will be able to watch you if you try to run home. So just pull over, deal with the issue, and don't do it again. But we'd like to see people not out on the streets because it is against the law. And it's important to remember that we're not trying to take away fun from people. OHVs are great for enjoyment, but do it legally and do it safely. We don't want to see anyone get injured. So if you do have one of these vehicles, please go to where it is legal, to one of the OHV parks, or head out to a location in New Mexico that it's encouraged to use them. The city of Albuquerque streets is not the place to use these vehicles. And just to clarify some of the laws and what you can do with these vehicles, Officer DESI ORTIZ with Game and Fish is going to step up here in a second and give some information to everyone on what the best way and where they can use these vehicles. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Commander. Thank you, Lieutenant. Thank you for inviting us to be here with you guys today. We're saddened by the events that have led us to being here. It's always a sad moment when we hear of accidents involving off-highway vehicles, especially when they result in death. The loss of a child is heartbreaking. Our thoughts are with the child's family, friends, and community who are grieving his loss. New Mexico's Off-Highway Vehicle Act allows off-highway vehicles, recreational off-highway vehicles, and all-terrain vehicles on paved roads only where local governments such as counties and municipalities have passed an ordinance or resolution permitting operation on paved roads in their jurisdiction. Neither Albuquerque nor Bernalillo have passed a paved road use ordinance. Violators are subject to penalties of at least $200 per citation plus court fees. It's important for everyone in Albuquerque, Bernalillo County, and across New Mexico to know the local and state laws before they head out on their off-highway vehicle. On our website, the New Mexico Department of Game and Fish maintains a list of every county and municipality with paved road use ordinances. If your municipality is not listed on our website, it's likely not legal. And it's best to check with local authorities to verify ordinances before writing. A few key laws everyone should know. Off-highway vehicle operators on a paved road must abide by all motor vehicle laws and rules. Local ordinances can add restrictions such as additional speed limits or hours of operation. Every operator on public land, including on paved roads where permitted, must be registered. Paved road use also requires an additional paved road use permit. The Off-Highway Vehicle Act requires that anyone operating an ROV or ATV on a paved road where allowed shall have a valid driver's license, proof of insurance, and must wear eye protection. Anyone under the age of 18 riding an off-highway vehicle on public lands in New Mexico is required to wear an approved helmet and eye protection. They're also required to carry proof that they have completed an off-highway vehicle safety course and are prohibited from carrying passengers at any time, regardless of how many seats are on the machine. Parents are required to visually supervise their child who is operating an off-highway vehicle until the child has a valid driver's license or a street motorcycle endorsement. You can find more information, including a list of OHV laws, safety information, and responsible riding in New Mexico at www.beforeyouride.com. Through the OHV Act, the Department of Game and Fish provides overtime funding to enforce OHV laws. All law enforcement agencies can apply for the grants and are encouraged to do so. The department provides OHV training for law enforcement as well as public education classes. Thank you for your time and promotion of safe OHV use around New Mexico, and I will turn it over to Rebecca. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you. All right, we're going to open it up to Q&A, and I can kind of designate the appropriate person to answer your questions.
Rebecca, how long is this the extra security or patrolling going to last?
right now we have an open-ended commitment. We're trying to obviously hope we can tamp it down and address it, but we do not. This is not a short-term effort, a couple of weeks and then we're going to be done. This will be an open-ended effort to help us address this issue. I can only assume that it would continue into the warmer weather if we did not address it, so our commitment is ongoing.
What are some of the areas that we're seeing these vehicles increased in? What streets?
I'll turn that over to Commander Wheeler.
So we've seen a lot of them in the Southwest Area Command, Bridge, Unser. They've made it to Paseo. We've seen them traveling in packs of 50 or more down I-40. They've made it into the downtown corridor, and they'll occupy the parking lots that are down there. The minute police arrive in the area, they'll flee. So those are some of the known areas. We've also seen them recently on Montgomery, where the traffic officers are already out targeting illegal street racers, and again they've fled. So with the help of the Open Space and New Mexico Game and Fish, we're going to be able to tackle those guys and catch these guys that are doing this. Yes, sir.
Commander, you offered some hard numbers earlier. I know it's just getting started, but have you guys issued any citations or towed any vehicles since you guys amped up patrol last week?
No, sir. So at the time we've attempted to stop these vehicles, they have all fled. So we've been unable to identify them because they didn't have license plates. A lot of them were wearing either full face masks or goggles, so we were unable to ID them. But again, using the other resources that were offered, we're gonna find out who these guys are and gals are and hold them accountable.
When did you start seeing an increase in off-road vehicles on city streets?
So the traffic division noticed last year, during the pandemic, when a lot of the businesses were closed and the streets were a lot less traveled with vehicles, normal vehicle traffic. That's when we recognized it. And I know the county has seen an uptick as well, and Sandoval County, Rio Rancho has seen an uptick as well with them traveling on the public streets.
Can you talk about the suspect in this case? Any information you want to get out there about him? I know Sonia perhaps wants to put something out, but anything else you want to say?
Okay, I'm going to defer that to Chief Smathers.
We are still actively seeking Mr. Sergio Almanza. He is wanted currently for vehicular homicide, leaving the scene of an accident with great bodily harm and tampering with evidence. So he is still wanted, and we are actively searching for him. So if anybody does have information on his whereabouts, we'd ask you to call 242-COPS or 843-STOP. There is now a Crime Stoppers Award also for information leading to his arrest, and I'll always remind people that you can remain anonymous with either one of those sources of information to us. So if anybody has information as to his whereabouts, please share that, no matter how small a bit of information you think it might be, because we very much want to take him into custody for these warrants.
Do you know if he's
We do. The United States Marshal Service is predominantly helping with us as we proceed, as we look into any leads about where he may be located. So they're our primary partner right now.
Do you know if he has any family or connections outside of the country?
I'm not going to speak to that and where he may be or any assistance he may be getting. So just know that we're actively seeking to serve those warrants on him.
Have his passengers been found, and will they also face charges?
That's part of the ongoing investigation. We are aware of other parties being with him at the time of the incident, and we're continuing to actively investigate their role in that. I will also say that we've gotten a tremendous amount of community information, which we're really thankful for, a lot of tips, a lot of information that really helped us accelerate this investigation, and I just want to thank the public for their assistance in that regard.
Deputy Chief, do you remember where you were when you heard that a 7-year-old boy was killed in a crosswalk?
I do. I was at my house. And greatly saddened by that. I mean, we don't want to have any loss of life. As Commander Wheeler mentioned, we've had a lot of fatalities this year related to traffic collisions, pedestrians being struck in a variety of settings. And this one is just in particular tragic due to the events. Obviously a family event for Christmas lights, fellowship, a time to celebrate the holidays together, and for it to end so tragically was just, it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking for us.
Deputy Chief, we know how stretched APD is. We know the officer shortage. We know of all the things that you guys are asked to do. How would you respond to the criticism that we should have been doing this before a a 7-year-old boy was killed when we noticed there was an increase in these vehicles last year.
The first thing I would say to that, I hope the community noticed how rapidly warrants were obtained in this case. It was a full court press for this entire police department to run down every lead, develop probable cause, and to charge Mr. Almanza appropriately. So first and foremost, I want the public to know that, and I think our actions demonstrated that on behalf of the family. We owed them that, and we were pleased to be able to obtain a warrant. We all deal with resource challenges. That's never going to be an excuse for us related to this. We've added this additional component of open space, air support, and New Mexico Game and Fish to address that unique part that these vehicles can operate where a typical police car cannot. And our hope is that with that those additional resources, we will be able to follow them, keep them in sight, and then get the identity that we need. So resources are never an excuse for an issue for us. I mean, they're real, those challenges are real, but we're committed to this effort.
How many officers are going to be working in this particular problem?
Well, there's not going to be any. I mean, we'll have particular TAC plans, which would be the traffic unit, open space, air support, but our area commands are also tasked with paying attention to this as well. They operate quite often in the Southwest Area Command, so myself and Deputy Chief Brown have partnered together. He's tasked all of his Area Command Field Services Bureau personnel to be attached to this effort as well. So it's not just these specialized units. All of the area commands that have open space issues will be a part of this as well.
Is there any other incidents related with those vehicles under investigation right now?
Causing injury?
Yes, absolutely. Because if you guys are holding this, I want to think there is more. It's because of tragedy, but how big is this issue here that you are holding a press conference because of that?
I'm not aware of any other cases where we had a person seriously injured related to an OHV in the city. Obviously, one is too many, and then this one was catastrophic to that family and to this community. So I'm not aware of any additional cases, but the problem itself and the potential for danger is why we're here. Obviously, we had the tragedy. That alone is worthy of this effort, but the potential for injury, not only to you and I as pedestrians, but to the OHV operators themselves driving in such a reckless manner. If that were to continue unabated, I have no doubt that we would have injuries among that group as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.